It means also I will not use this opportunity to say I told you so, as someone who spent the last 5 years warning people in the West that if we continue to erode our culture, if we continue to undermine our confidence in Western values, that our enemies like Vladimir Putin will seek to capitalize on it.
In a world where logic and tradition are under siege, few still dare to push back against the ideological rot of woke culture. It spreads like a virus, infecting institutions, warping reality, and silencing dissent. But among the few who refuse to bow, Konstantin Kisin stands as a formidable force. A man the woke establishment dreads because he meets their dogma with cold, hard truth. This time he's taken another swing at the toxic ideology being force-fed to society. And in an era where conformity is king, his words cut through the noise like a battle cry. Because let's be honest, truth is a dangerous thing in an age built on fragile narratives.
I find that the main reason now that I have left to be in support of the motion is that I am so tired of talking about woke culture. That's why it's gone too far, more than anything else. And I thank the other speakers for making the points for me, because it means I don't have to reiterate the point that no, free speech is not some right-wing reframing of whatever. It's the foundation of Western civilization. Upon this civilization is built, and the Enlightenment values that led to it. I don't have to make the point that has been made by far better people in the past, that the only way to deal with the problem of racism is to treat people on the content of their character and nothing else. And the fact that woke culture seeks to overturn that is a new form of racism that we must all oppose.
It's ironic how the woke ideologues love to pretend they're the vanguard of progress, but their obsession with race, gender, and identity proves the opposite. They haven't dismantled racism, they've just rebranded it, forgetting that they can't fight discrimination with more discrimination, and they can't build a fairer world by shutting down those who disagree with them. Talk about bigotry in a completely different outfit. And this is why free speech is so dangerous to them. It exposes their contradictions. The moment you allow open debate, the whole house of cards collapses. That's why they frame freedom of speech as some right-wing dog whistle. Because they can't win on ideas. They need censorship to survive.
It means also I will not use this opportunity to say I told you so, as someone who spent the last 5 years warning people in the West that if we continue to erode our culture, if we continue to undermine our confidence in Western values, that our enemies like Vladimir Putin will seek to capitalize on it. I will not make any of those points tonight, at all. Instead, I am not going to talk to those of you who already agree with me, which I imagine is most of you. I'm not going to talk to you because I imagine after everything you've heard tonight, you're going to vote for the proposition. I'm going to confess I will take your vote for granted. Tonight, I am the Labour Party and you are the Red Wall.
This is the part the far left refuses to understand, that a civilization survives only as long as people are willing to defend it. And when the far left spends its time dismantling Western values from within by mocking tradition, undermining national identity, and branding patriotism as problematic, it creates a vacuum. A society that forgets what made it strong is a society that won't stay strong for long. And if we keep playing this self-destructive game, we won't need enemies to defeat us. We'll do it ourselves.
Now, I want to talk to those of you who are woke and who are open to rational argument. A small minority, I accept. Because one of the tenets of wokeness is, of course, that your feelings matter more than the truth. But I believe in you. I believe there are those of you here who are woke, who are open to rational arguments, so let me make one.
Konstantin made an important distinction here, because let's be honest, not everyone on the left has lost the plot. There are rational people who still believe in debate, facts, and reality, not because they have wavered from what they used to stand for, but because the scale has moved further to the left. The modern left isn't led by them. It's led by activists who think feelings override facts, who believe being offended is the same as being oppressed. And here's the real tragedy. These rational leftists should be the ones steering the ship, but they've either been silenced, sidelined, or simply too afraid to speak up. Why? Because in today's climate, even questioning the narrative makes you a heretic, and the woke mob doesn't tolerate heretics, it cancels them.
We are told that your generation cares more than any other about one issue in particular, and that issue is climate change. We're told that many of you suffer from climate anxiety. You wish to save the planet. And for tonight, and tonight only, I will join you. I will join you in worshipping at the feet of Saint Greta of climate change. Let us all accept right here, right now, that we are living through a climate emergency and our stocks of polar bears are running extremely low. I join you in this view. I truly do. Now, what are we to do about this huge problem facing humanity? What can we in Britain do? We can only do one thing. You know why? This country is responsible for 2% of global carbon emissions, which means that if Britain was to sink into the sea right now, it would make absolutely no difference to the issue of climate change. You know why? Because the future of the climate is going to be decided in Asia and in Latin America.
Konstantin Kisin took a sledgehammer to one of the biggest hypocrisies of the modern left, their climate hysteria. While the West is being lectured, taxed, and guilt-tripped into oblivion over carbon emissions, the real polluters, China, India, and the rest of the developing world, carry on business as usual. This isn't about saving the environment. It's about control. It's about virtue-signaling politicians crippling their own economies with green policies that do nothing to stop climate change, but everything to make life more expensive for working people.
No, thank you. No, thank you. It's going to be decided by poor people in Asia and Latin America who don't care about saving the planet. You know why? Because they're poor. Because they're poor.
How wonderfully he summed it all up. If this were truly about science, we'd be having serious discussions about nuclear energy, innovation, and real solutions. But no, that would require logic. Instead, we get hysteria, doomsday predictions, and policies that punish the West while the actual culprits laugh all the way to the coal plant.
I come from Russia, which is not a poor country, it's a middle-income country. 20% of households in Russia do not have an indoor toilet. What they have is an outdoor toilet. And I don't mean one of those nice portaloos that we get here. I don't even mean a Glastonbury portaloo. I mean a wooden shack with a hole in the ground that holds a collected fermented memory of the last 10,000 visits. How many of you are going to go home tonight and say, let's rip out our bathroom and erect a Siberian shithouse in the back garden? And if you're not, why should they?
This is the only logical response to the climate demands of the woke brigade. They expect the entire world to bow to their utopian green policies, yet they ignore one glaring reality. People won't make sacrifices when they see others carrying on as usual.
120 million people in China do not have enough food. I don't mean that they don't get dessert, I mean they suffer from malnutrition. That means that their immune system is breaking down because they don't have enough food. You're not going to get them to stay poor.
The West can cripple its industries, tax its citizens into poverty, and ban everything from gas stoves to plastic straws. But guess what? The rest of the world isn't playing along. China, India, and Latin America aren't hitting the brakes on development just to satisfy the neuroses of privileged activists in London or New York. They'll keep building, keep producing, and keep polluting, while the West self-flagellates over carbon footprints and climate justice.
Imagine you're Xi Jinping, the leader of China. When you were 10 years old, there was a revolution, a cultural revolution in your country, and people came and they put your father in prison. Your mother had to denounce him. Your sister killed herself. And you, no longer enjoying the protection of your formerly powerful father, were sent to a village where you lived in a cave house. And here you are, decades later. You have clawed your way up the bloody and greasy pole of Chinese politics to be the undisputed supreme leader of the very Communist Party that destroyed your family. And you know that the main thing you have to do to survive and to stay in power is to deliver the one thing that the people of China want: prosperity, economic growth. Where do you think climate change ranks on Xi Jinping's list of priorities?
Now that's what the woke mob has forgotten, that it's all about their own wishes, their own comfort, while they completely disregard the reality of the world around them. The global economy is teetering on the edge, with people struggling to make ends meet, and yet the woke elite expect the rest of us to swallow their climate hysteria.
About 15 months ago, my wife got pregnant. Not me, because we're old school. And for 9 months, we talked about what our boy would look like, what he might do when he grows up. We looked at baby scans and videos on YouTube about what the fetus looks like at 9 months and 12 months and 20 months. And eventually he was born. And he is this cute little bundle of joy. He's cuter than about 80% of puppies, right? Now, if you said to me that I had a choice, either my son had a serious risk of starving or dying from a preventable disease in the next year, or I could press a button and he would live. He would go to school. He would bring his first girlfriend home. He'd go to university and graduate and become a woke idiot.
You can't hold back nations striving for a better life. It's not just a moral issue, it's human nature. People in poor countries aren't looking for permission to improve. They're doing everything they can to escape the grinding poverty they've been stuck in. And guess what? If that means burning more carbon to lift their families out of destitution, they'll do it. Because at the end of the day, who wouldn't?
And then he'd get a job and get married and have children and become a man. But all I have to do is press this button. And for every day of my son's life, a giant plume of CO2 is going to get released into the atmosphere. Now, you're all very young, and most of you are not parents. Let me tell you something. There is not a parent in the world who would not smash that button so hard their hand bled. You are not going to get these people to stay poor. You're not even going to get them to not want to be richer. And so, I put it to you, ladies and gentlemen, there is only one thing we can do in this country to stop climate change. And that is to make scientific and technological breakthroughs that will create the clean energy that is not only clean, but also cheap.
Kisin's personal analogy cuts to the heart of it. The idea of telling them to stop is laughable. They're not going to stop. They can't stop. They need energy. They need development, and they will pursue it at any cost. And to actually pursue these climate change goals, we should be looking with a different lens. The only way to solve climate change isn't by crying about it, pointing fingers, or pandering to a woke agenda. It's through technological breakthroughs. Innovation, hard work, and a real commitment to progress are what will get us out of this mess, not virtue signaling protests or the endless brainwashing of young people into believing they're helpless victims.
And the only thing that wokeness has to offer in exchange is to brainwash bright young minds like you to believe that you are victims, to believe that you have no agency, to believe that what you must do to improve the world is to complain, is to protest, is to throw soup on paintings. And we on this side of the house are not on this side of the house because we do not wish to improve the world. We sit on this side of the house because we know that the way to improve the world is to work, is to create, it is to build. And the problem with woke culture is that it's trained too many young minds like yours to forget about that. Thank you very much.
The woke culture has turned despair into a virtue, teaching the youth that they're powerless, that all they can do is protest and complain. What a farce. Instead of encouraging critical thinking, problem solving, and innovation, the woke mob tells them to accept their fate and just moan about the situation. This isn't activism, it's stagnation. And here's the thing, right-wing thinkers are not in denial about climate change or any other global challenge. What they're rejecting is the idea that we can solve these issues by wallowing in guilt and emotionalism. They understand that real change comes from action, through science, through technology, through doing, not by folding our arms and chanting slogans. The focus should be on solutions, not on being paralyzed by fear. The woke crowd may offer endless noise, but the right is offering a way forward, actual progress.